Read black books, read aloud. Get up early and beat the crowd. Read black books, read aloud. Hey, we're mighty proud. Read black books, read aloud. Get up early and beat the crowd. Read black books, read aloud.
Presented by the Hurston Wright Foundation. Disciplinary for other subjects as well. And so without further ado, I would like to turn over the reins to Lesley Younge, who will be presenting her new children's book that's out. And I don't want to take anything away from her introduction. I'm going to make space for her. So if you can give it up with your snaps and your claps, welcome Lesley Younge.
Oh, thank you so much for having me, Dr. Ellie Coleman. I'm just so pleased to be a part of this program. Beatrice Moore, it's been amazing to see what you've done with your residency. And thank you so much for making space for these books to be shared with our children and for us to share them with other people's children as well. So I'm in Myrtle Beach right now, so I won't be able to come to the signing at Sankofa, which I'm so sad about. But I am glad the Wi-Fi is working so I can do a live reading. This was really a wonderful invitation. So today I'm going to read to you from my book, A Train Allen, written by myself, Lesley Younge, and illustrated by Lonnie Oliver. He's an incredible illustrator. And so I'm actually going to share the PowerPoint version so you can get a really good view of the illustrations because they're pretty incredible. We did publish this book through Cherry Lake Publishing and Sleeping Bear Press as part of their Own Voices, Own Stories Award. We were the inaugural grand prize winner and one of the first books published through that imprint. And I just want to encourage anybody who has an idea for a picture book out there to keep track of that Own Voices, Own Stories Award contest. It's a wonderful way to get your stories out there. I also wanted to say that I do have a book for the YA audience, middle grade YA. It's called Nearer My Freedom. I co-wrote it with my mentor, Monica Edinger, and it is a verse novel remix of Olaudah Equiano's seminal autobiography. And we just wanted to make sure students in grades like 6 through 9 had access to this incredible abolitionist's story, which he wrote himself in the 18th century, the late 1700s. So if you're looking for a great YA summer nonfiction verse novel read, this one will do it all. There's also an audiobook that's out on your favorite audiobook platform. So Nearer My Freedom by Monica Edinger, and Lesley Younge is my other book. All right, so A Train Allen is inspired by my son, Alan. And as I read aloud, I want you to see if you can tell what 4 things Alan really loves, okay? One of the great things about being a writer is you get to be inspired by your own life. And so Alan and the things that he loves inspired this book. And hopefully, again, the PowerPoint version will allow you to see the illustrations up close. It was 3 o'clock in the afternoon, and everyone knew that A Train Allen would soon come flying by. A Train lived on Holly Street, which was not too far from his school. In the mornings, he took his time, but after school, he ran. It was widely believed that he could get across town faster than the subway. When the final school bell rang, the neighbors and shopkeepers and old men playing chess in the park would check the time and say, "Guess A Train will be along soon." Shortly after, here he come, barreling through, his sneakers flapping against the pavement, his backpack bouncing, and a little gust of wind whooshing by because, man, that boy was fast. Once he bolted through the park, A Train sped past the library. The window display was a tempting blur of books. A girl sat on the bench outside reading. The pages of her book fluttered as A Train passed. This afternoon was no different. After bounding out the front door of his school, A-Train bolted through the park. He flew past a group of older kids playing basketball who stopped their game to watch him go. A flock of pigeons took to the air, and the lady feeding them smiled as she threw another handful of breadcrumbs onto the ground. The old men playing chess under the ginkgo trees laughed and remembered a time when they too could run like that. After speeding past the library, he dashed towards the post office, arriving just as the mail trucks rolled out for afternoon delivery. He skidded to a stop at the curb and paused long enough to let the last truck turn onto Center Street, where he was headed to. The driver gave a friendly honk. A-Train waved and took off again. Center Street was bustling as people gathered on corners and customers scurried in and out of the various shops. A-Train ducked and dodged his way down the sidewalk. A-Train, where are you going so fast? The grocer called as she arranged piles of oranges and avocados. Got somewhere to be, A-Train called back. A-Train, where are you going so fast? The barber hollered as he swept his doorway. Got somewhere to be, A-Train hollered back. A-Train, where are you going so fast? The mustache man behind the hot dog stand shouted as he squeezed out some mustard. Got somewhere to be, A-Train shouted back. Where does A-Train need to go? We'll see. Down the street, through the alley, and up the hill, A-Train ran. He didn't slow down until he reached the elevated subway station. The tracks trembled overhead as a train rumbled closer, bringing folks back home from the cluster of skyscrapers downtown. The train screeched to a stop. He heard the doors hiss open. The conductor's garbled voice warned boarding passengers to stand back. Moments later, A-Train's grandmother came down the stairs. When she reached the bottom, she stepped onto the sidewalk and adjusted her hat. A-Train was right there to meet her. Made it on time, Grandma, he said. Yes, you did, baby. Seems like you beat me here every single day. You sure are fast. She gave him a squeeze around the shoulders and a kiss right on the top of his head. A-Train smiled and took her hand. Together, they walked the rest of the way home. The end. Now, I'm wondering if you were able to guess what 4 things my son Alan really loves that helped to inspire this book. If you guessed running, you're right. That's 1. If you guessed trains, and especially subway trains, you're right. That's 2. If you guessed the city, and maybe even this reminded you of a special city, New York City, yes, that's number 3. Alan loves New York City. And maybe you can think of number 4. That's right. Alan loves his grandmothers. And all of those things that Alan loves made it into this book. And that's what inspired the story. All right, that is the end of the story, but I am live. And if there are any questions, I'd be happy to answer them. Thank you so much for listening.
I have a question that was sent to me. How long did it take for you to write both of your books that came out this year?
Okay, so they both have very different publishing stories, very different tracks, and then ironically, they came out within a week of one another. So the YA book was begun first. It started as a project that I was doing with my mentor, Monica Edinger, and we started that project in 2018. We received it was purchased by Zest Books Learner in 2019. And then unfortunately we had a setback when Monica had a stroke. But we were able to work together as she recovered and write it between 2020 and 2021. And so then it went to the publisher and was finally published in spring of 2023 after spending a lot of time with a really wonderful set of designers. A Train Allen, I wrote between, in about, that book it was an idea that came to me sort of all of a sudden, the way some books can happen. And so the actual initial manuscript probably took a month or so to write and to finalize. And then that book I just submitted to a contest in February of 2021. And I received a notice later that summer that it had been selected to be published. But from that initial sort of meeting with the editor in 2021, it did take 2 years to design and illustrate and publish that book, A Train Allen. So it's a long process. Publishing is not for the impatient at all. It did take a while, both projects.
Well, congratulations. And we are so proud and happy for you. And if there are no more questions, can you tell folks where to find you, Lesley, if they'd like to purchase the book?
Absolutely. Yes. And I want to thank Hurston Wright for being an incredible literary home for me. I've met incredible people, been mentored by so many wonderful teachers and presenters and panelists over the last year, and I just feel really grateful to be part of this community. So thank you for this opportunity. You can find me at teacherlesley.com, TEACHER, and then you spell Lesley, LESLEY, teacherlesley.com. You'll be able to email me, see books, where to buy. I also have a blog that I update regularly, so you can follow along with teaching and writing adventures. And I love to share resources, so I share lots of links, lots of resources for anybody interested in teaching and or writing. And I love to say that it's a wonderful life when you can do both. So thank you for having me.
Fantastic. Thank you, everyone, for being part of Read Black Books this week, our Read-Alouds. Again, we encourage you to check us out on YouTube if you missed any of the Read-Alouds that took place this week. And if you're in the DC, Maryland, Virginia area, please come out to Sankofa Books tomorrow from 10 to 2, where we will be joined by B. Sharice Moore, our writer in residence, as well as other children's book authors, some of the ones that you saw this week. And we will be ending with a book reading and performance by Uncle Devin. Thank you so much. Bye, everyone.
She was like, how did I sound like you? We're mighty proud of Read Black Books, read aloud. Get up early and beat the crowd. Read Black Books, read aloud. Hey, we're mighty proud of Read Black Books, read aloud. Get up early and beat the crowd. Read Black Books, read aloud.
Presented by the Hurston Wright Foundation.